What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the BroTech Gaming Podcast. So we're gonna get into it right now. Before we get started on that, we posted a song of the week. I guess you could call it song of the week on the last episode. So if you don't know what it was, drum roll, please.
I don't have my soundboard out.
Do we even have drum rolls on the soundboard?
I don't think I do. That's something I could do. I can download a bunch of soundboard noises.
Just make like a bunch of taps. This is probably gonna sound horrible for listeners. Last week's sound was Donkey Kong, OG Donkey Kong. So congrats to those that guessed it last week. Can we get a clap, please? Golf clap.
Yes.
Let's go. So new song for this week. If you listen to that one, please leave your comments below what song you think it is. We'll play it at the beginning and at the end of this podcast. So look forward to that. Answer to that next week if you don't know what it is. So
yeah, the intros have been yeah, the intros have been pretty fun. I've just been picking like random stuff from like my childhood. So I think this one's gonna be from your childhood. We've kind of had them like on easy mode, so we're gonna kind of like spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, we could do some advanced ones. You know, we could definitely do some advanced ones. There's definitely some like very like well-known nostalgic ones, which is like level 1 status. But some of them are gonna be a little tougher. There'll be some tough ones. We'll keep it spicy. So yeah, that being said, let's go ahead and get into the episode. Before we get into topics though, Carlos has a little bit of a rant that he wants to get off his chest. So Carlos, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I know there's been like a whole like trend thing of like podcasts, like everyone's doing podcasts, which is cool, you know, like I can't complain because like obviously we have a podcast, but I'm on TikTok a lot, like a lot, and it's like every like 4 or 5 videos, it's like this one specific podcast that comes on that I think they're brothers, or they have like brothers and friends on there and stuff, but they do like the scripted type of podcast where one guy's talking and then the other guy's like, what? I've never heard of that. What do you mean? Like what is that? And the dude could be talking about like fish, and he's like, what's a fish? I've never heard of a fish. What is that?
Yeah.
And the guy's just like, are you serious right now? Like, tell me you're playing. Like, are you serious? Like, you don't know what a fish is? Like, get out. And the dude's like, no, I've never heard of that word. Like, what is that? And they're like, you don't know like how many times I had to like block those channels. I've had to like dislike the video to like get them off my algorithm. And the thing is, like, people clip their clips and put it like on their page, so there's always a way around it that they're coming up like on my shit, and it annoys me because those things are so stupid.
Yeah. So I've definitely seen a lot of variety of podcasts now. Like a lot more people are doing it. It's kind of like the trendy thing. It seems like everybody's got a podcast. So obviously they have to make it all unique from one another. But I don't really like seeing kind of like what you're talking about, the whole it's like scripted podcast. Like obviously like we don't completely go into every episode like raw. Like we have like, you know, we got like our little topics that we like to show, and you know we try to keep on track with things, but we just kind of like flow back and forth. We try to keep it as realistic as possible, and it is kind of annoying when you have like that type of content where it's like hey, did you hear about the new announcement from Marvel? No, what announcement are you talking about? Well, apparently there's going to be a new announcement and it's going to be all these people and all those people. What? No way. That's crazy. It's like, bro, come on. It's so fake. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've seen those too. But yeah, that's just my rant. Hopefully I see less of it because I'm trying to get it off my algorithm as soon as it pops up.
Yeah, fix it. This is the only podcast y'all should be listening to anyways. We're the best.
Definitely give us a like, give us a follow, do all the good stuff.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe. It's YouTube.
All right. Anything else you want to announce before we get into the topics?
No, that was it. That was just my gripe of the week.
Okay, gripe of the week. Until next week. All right, so First thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about some tech news. So for all you non-techie people, apologies. This is going to be really boring, but it is called the Bro Tech Gaming Podcast after all. So first thing is Ryzen. So they just dropped another X3D chip. So they have like 3 in their lineup now. So they have the 5600 X3D that you can only get from Micro Center, which is kind of whack. You can't buy it anywhere except Micro Center. Now they have the 57X100 3D or XX3D, and then they have the 5800X3D, which was kind of like the original X3D chip that they dropped. So Carlos, I know you don't really like follow a lot of that too closely. Like you're rocking a 5900, I think, in yours. So you pretty much got like, for the most part, the best of both. Like you got like productivity and you got like gaming too. But basically having like that X3D chip in most games, from what I can see, is going to boost your performance like 15-20% in a lot of games. So I guess like I just want to know, or your opinions on it, like if they had an X3D version like of your 5900, like would you feel like that would be an upgrade you would be willing to spend money for? Like if you could squeeze another like let's say 20%, like if you can get like 20% more frames out of your games, do you think you'd want to buy or would consider a 3D chip for your computer?
I would have to go through a list of like pros and cons,
Yeah.
because that extra 20%, like it's a good like investment to get more out of like a game. But also you have to think about like upgrading your AIO cooler, because it's going to run hotter. You have to think about your monitor, because if it's going to be pushing more frames out and you're still running like a 120 hertz or 140 hertz, you're not going to get that value back anyways. And then it's kind of like the eye test. Like, am I even going to see that performance with my actual eyes? And I guess for me, like I don't really see a difference between like 165 and like 144. Like I haven't tried 240 yet, but between those two, or like 120, between those three, like I don't really see a big difference personally. So I don't know if getting like 400 FPS on a monitor is going to change anything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it might be good for like future proofing, like say a game that's going to come out in a couple of years is going to be really like CPU intensive, then it's good to have that that extra ceiling for that game.
Yeah, because even me, like I kind of go back and forth. Like I have the 5800X, the non 3D, and like let's say on average, in most games, I'm getting like, let's say like 120 FPS on average with the chip I have. Like an X3D would give me like 135 to like 140, and I mean that's a pretty decent jump. But it's like, do I really need that much more performance? And so for me, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'd want to go that route or not, but I think it's cool that they have it. Mostly it's just them trying to get rid of their old stuff. They're just adding like 3D cache to their old stuff to get rid of, because like obviously they're on a new platform now. And we're talking about like an older platform, which is AM4. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I think it's good for people that are rocking like old systems, that want to get like the most out of their money. But I think for us, like we're already on 5,000. Like 20% to me is not that big of a jump when we're already pushing over 100 frames. So like you said, I don't know if I'd really like notice that. But if I'm somebody that's got like 35-40 frames on average, and if I can buy something that'll push me over 60 consistently, then I think that would be a different story.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Like it would be good for somebody that's like either rebuilding their PC, getting into like new PCs, or they don't have the money to jump to like AM5 and start like all over with that. That's kind of like where I'm at right now. Like I don't really want to upgrade anything on the AM4, because I know in the future I am gonna update to the AM5, and then I basically have to get a new motherboard, new RAM, new CPU. It's basically going to be a whole new system besides the GPU, which I'm keeping that baby for like the next like 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, you spent enough money on it.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't want to buy a small form factor for your wife?
I mean, it's gonna come to it. Like if she gets the case,
You don't have to answer that question.
I mean, I kind of want to, man. Like, I do get that itch of wanting to build a new system, and doing like a small form factor is kind of like a new challenge because I've never built in that. So I kind of want to do it just because of the new challenge of trying to fit something into something really small.
Yeah, I
Giggity.
recommend. Giddy. Okay. I mean, that's all I got on that. That's a pretty short topic. It's just just more chips to choose from, more gaming focus. But I mean, Ryzen's kind of been a solid choice in my opinion for gaming. Like I don't even really hear people talk about Intel that much anymore. So I like that Ryzen just has so many freaking options out there. All right, next topic. So, more techie stuff. Microsoft, the company Microsoft for Windows. We're not talking about like Xbox related stuff, but they are presenting their own upscaling technology. Basically, it's like so every GPU processor has like their own form of upscaling. AMD has FSR, Intel has DLSS, or not. I'm sorry, not Intel. Nvidia has DLSS, and then Intel has one called like Z's, like it's XESS. Like I don't even know how to pronounce it, but concept behind upscaling for non-tech people is what you do is like you take a game. Let's say you take a game and you're playing at 4K, but you're like struggling to play that game at 4K. Like let's say you're only getting like 28 frames per second at 4K. What upscaling will do is it will downgrade the image, so you'll have like a downscaled image, say like from 4K down to like 1080p. And then what it'll do is it'll basically like uh sort of like repost that image back up to 4K, but you're actually downscaled at 1080p. So it's basically a way to get like more frames, more performance, but sort of like maintaining like the full aspect ratio. So that's basically the gist of it. I'm doing a really shit job explaining it. Tech nerds are gonna fucking eat me up in the comments if they're in there. But basically that's a rule of thumb. So coming from you, like we both have very different tiered performance of cards, right? Like mine's kind of technically like mid-level now with the new tech. Yours is kind of like high-end, almost enthusiast level. Like is upscaling really important to you when you game? Like is that even something that you even consider when you game, is like turning on like DLSS or any kind of upscaling?
I don't even think I have it turned on. Um, just because I'm kind of hitting the frames that I want right now.
Mm.
Especially with Apex. I usually hit like around 200. If you're looking up at the sky, it caps out at 300. But I mean, again, like I don't really see all those frames anyways because I'm old and all that good stuff. But I
You
don't
gotta
know,
wear your
like,
glasses.
nah, dude. So funny story with the glasses. It was a couple of days ago. I was actually wearing them because I was gonna wear them like all day, and I got home and I took them off, and I got like instant headache, dude. And I was just like dying, and I was like, I'm not wearing these things anymore, dude.
Welcome to the club, fool. Welcome to the club. You say that now, but it's too late. It's too late. You already started rocking it now. Anyways, back on topic. So
Yeah.
basically, you're saying that like you don't really think or consider upscaling when you game, but it's probably because your card just pushes too many frames anyways, right?
Yeah, like I mostly like the Nvidia because of the AV1 encoder for YouTube to stream on YouTube, and like kind of like multi-streaming. So I can use the AV1 for YouTube and I can use like the NVENC encoder for like Twitch at the same time, and it doesn't stress out the card at all. So that's
Hmm.
that's one thing that I got it for. And like for rendering these videos, like when because a lot of these past videos have been like an hour long, so rendering it at about like I render them at 1440p, and it only takes 20 minutes to render an hour long video.
Hmm.
And they're usually like a few gigs, like 10, 12 gigs total. And to do that in 12 minutes is pretty cool compared to my 5700X that would take about an hour, or probably like double that time to render that size video. So
True.
I mean, it's good for productivity.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would really say about like upscaling tech is it's something that like a lot of games are like really pushing now. we're in this kind of like a weird transition where like they'll come out with a new game engine like Unreal 5, and like Unreal 5 is like really really fucking hard to run, like even on like top end hardware it's really really hard to run. So now they're sort of like baking in upscaling technology just so they can run the game. um and like I only know that a lot of like Unreal 5 games, but I mean like consoles too, like consoles have always used some kind of upscaling technology. So it's a lot more normal than we give it credit for, but it's really being pushed like a lot now, and I think it's just because the games are just getting really really hard to run. So
Yeah, I mean, if you can get something for upscaling, if you need it, I guess it would be good to have.
I can only really see it like used for people that have older hardware that can't really get the performance they want. Like on the Steam Deck, like the Steam Deck has to use upscaling because it's not powerful enough to run games like like a full on like PC. You know, it has to make compromises. So in those cases, it makes total sense. But it's just crazy how many like different types of technology there are now. It's almost getting oversaturated. Like how do you choose between like different upscalers? So it's just I don't know. I think it's just getting kind of complicated. So
Just
one
gotta
of
do
those
your
things.
research.
Do the research. Okay, segue into the next tech topic. Since we're talking about consoles, there's been some little inklings and teases of the PS5 Pro being announced soon, and I think that they're aiming. I want to say it's like next year. I think mid next year or early next year is when it could possibly be announced. So, Carlos, in your opinion, since we're like hardcore PC gamers now, and since you sometimes dabble in PS5, maybe I don't even know if you still use your PS5. Um, what's your thoughts on a PS5 Pro coming out? We've only had the PS5 out for like 4 years now, and there's a Pro announcement. What do you think about that?
I'm kind of happy for the Pro though. I'd have to check and see the timelines as far as like when the PS4 came out and then the PS4 Pro came out, just to see if it has like the same timeline as when the Pro came out. Um, but I don't know, man. Like, as far as like console games and like exclusives, like what do they really have that's gonna be coming out that they need a Pro for?
Mhm.
Because if they're gonna be, you know, having like a higher resolution, higher like FPS and stuff like that, but like, is it gonna have like a higher FOV? You know, something that like on PC is just like I love the FOV on PC, man. It's like it's a whole new game basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like the PS5 Pro, I like the idea of it, but kind of going back to what you said. I mean, so Apex, for example, like Apex on console, in my personal opinion, like people can hate on this because there's probably some like they'll die on that hill kind of a thing. Apex on console is a terrible experience for me. Like the FOV, like when you crank the FOV on that game, like the performance just gets worse and worse the higher the FOV is. It doesn't have any way to like scale the image. It won't let you push anything beyond 60 frames per second. So it's like a lock 60 no matter what hardware you're using. It's like you're going to give a PS5 Pro like more performance, that's great, but then that's still going to be limited by like what game you're going to be playing. Like what does that mean for the game? Like am I going to go back and play like Last of Us Part 2 on like a PS5 Pro that like it's you're technically only going to be playing like the same games that have already been out, and is it really going to generate like this new experience for you, you know? Like when I got my PS4 Pro, I think the first game that I played on the PS4 Pro, because it was bundled, was God of War, and I mean God of War played pretty good on the Pro. Like it had a performance mode. It had like a resolution mode. So you were either like capped at 30 at 4K, or you were uncapped at like a slightly lower resolution. I mean, aside from that, like I felt like the game still ran and played the same. Like you played Last of Us Part 2 on like the OG PS4, and I mean you had your struggles, but I feel like it didn't diminish like your experience with the game. I don't think you having a PS4 Pro would have changed your experience with the game. So I just kind of feel like it's the same thing. I just don't know what the expectation is trying to squeeze like another like 15%, 20% of performance out of the PS5. If we're just going to go back and play the old games that we already played anyways.
Yeah, for sure. I also think that they would probably up the like the storage on it from I'm guessing like what is it, like a terabyte right now that it comes with.
Barely a terabyte. It's like 822 gigabytes. It's not even a full terabyte.
Okay, so that's like for the software and stuff like that. So I'm guessing if they come out with the Pro, they'll probably up it to about like 2 terabytes. So you'll probably get about like 1.8 terabytes of space, which is pretty good. I mean, you can go from like 3 games to like 6 games.
Yeah, you can install your own anyways from the original PS5. So I don't know if that's going to be like, for us, I don't think that would be a major selling point, but they're going to throw that out there. It's like, get 4 terabytes of storage on the PS5 Pro.
Yeah, we installed it for you, and now we're charging you like $300 more.
Play games in true 4K.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Pro would probably be good for like Grand Theft Auto 6, probably.
hmm yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's still early. Early announcement. Like, we don't have any specs. We don't know what kind of like cool features and whatever they're gonna come out with. I don't know. Maybe I'm a hater because like it took me like 2 years to get my PS5 because of like the shortages and everything. And then like I feel like I still really haven't used it as much as I want for them to already announce a pro version. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
You just have to
We
remember
will
that your
see.
PC is already better than a PS5.
It's already better than a PS5 Pro as well, probably. So I guess just for the exclusives, right? Which are coming to PC anyways. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a whole nother topic, man. We could talk about that on a different podcast, but exclusivity is kind of gone at this point. So, all
yeah,
right. Next subject, unless you got anything else to say.
nothing much. I mean, maybe they might come out with like a tweak to the controls too. I feel like the DualSense is like a really good control though. Like I love like the basic control. It just feels really good. The like the what do you call it, like the haptic feedback on the triggers, they feel really good. Like I love that feeling of like cracking that like the trigger back when it has like that resistance on it. I know a lot of people
Yeah,
don't like it, but I really like it.
I think it works out in certain games. I think there's definitely some games where the haptic feedback like feels really good and really cool. Um, Other games though, like BRs, like I know Warzone, when Warzone dropped, it had haptic feedback in Warzone, and that was actually kind of a distraction. Like that was literally like a millisecond of me living or dying in some gunfight. So Michelle likes the DualSense controller on her PC. That's actually like her preferred controller. So I also prefer it over like even the Xbox layout. So I'm sure that when it comes out, like they'll have like a new like a refresh of like accessories and like pro versions, like their headsets, their controllers, all that stuff. I'm sure they'll have like a new batch of things because that's just marketing.
I think it would be cool if they came out with their new controller with it.
Oh, you mean with the triggers?
Yeah, I think that would be worth it.
You won't get a scuff, but you'll get that.
No, I mean I still wouldn't get it, but I'm saying for like people maybe getting their first PS5 and they just jump straight to the Pro and then they get that brand new controller.
You should just get it anyways. It'll change your game.
Yeah, one day.
All that slide canceling on Warzone will be so much smoother for you. You don't have to claw that shit anymore.
I haven't even played Warzone since
You don't
Apex.
you don't have to like hook your finger to hit that like slide and jump combo with that circle and X. Just be like, just be all back here.
Yeah, one day, one day.
I know you're playing the hook. Okay. Uh, moving on from that. So let's get into some gaming stuff now. So last episode we were talking about like what games that we can talk about that we've been playing. So Carlos kind of briefly talked about GTA 5 last week. So since that's not a BR, and it's not Apex, and it's not Warzone. How's your experience been with GTA 5, Carlos?
It's been really cool. I haven't had any like issues with it. Besides playing online where I get into like these servers and they just kind of like crash the server. Um it was I was playing one time and I guess there's certain areas in the city that you go to where it's like heavily populated with other people. And then if you go like in the outskirts, like the mountains and the desert, there's like nobody out there. So I was in the city and somebody I think they like DDoSed the server or something because I kept getting like it sounded like a squishy toy, and then it just kept doing it, and then the server just crashed and kicked me out. So I was like, I don't know if like I killed somebody and he got pissed off or something, and like he just kicked everybody out of the server. Um, but besides that, like just playing just just regular mode, just doing the missions and stuff are pretty fun. The game still looks really good, especially on the 1440p. And for that one, I think I sit like mid like 150 FPS playing that game, like even like during the city and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would if you guys have never played GTA 5, I highly recommend it. It's a very long game. There's so much you can do in that game. Like they still add stuff to this day, just like new add-ons, new like casino stuff, new heists. It's a really fun game, and I got it for like 15 bucks on Steam, and it came with all the add-ons, all the DLCs. Like I think it even came with like extra money and stuff like that. So it's a it's a very fun game, very cheap, fun game.
Yeah, are you just playing like the multiplayer stuff? Like you're not doing like the, I guess you'd call it campaign, but you're not playing like any of the main story and stuff. You're just doing your own, like it's just the online servers, right?
Well, I think when I'm bored, I'll play the online, but I mostly just play the campaign, and I'm just doing like straight
Oh, okay.
story mode too. So I'm
Okay,
not
okay.
even like doing any side missions or anything like that, just straight story mode.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people are only into it for the multiplayer. So it's just like it's almost like there's two like different communities of like GTA 5 players. Like you got the ones for the story, and then you got the ones that just play online mode. Like online modes is its own like beast altogether. So
Yeah. So what about
that's
you?
cool.
What are you playing?
So I went and bought RoboCop on Steam. It didn't get really good reviews. Like I think on average it was only getting like sevens, mostly sevens across the board. But like I don't know, like I like the nostalgia. Like I like the '80s action nostalgia. I always thought the RoboCop movies were like hella dope growing up. So yeah, I just wanted to play it. Apparently the company that developed it, like they really like that '80s action. So they actually made a RoboCop game. No, not RoboCop. I'm sorry. They made a Rambo game like 5 or 6 years ago that did like really bad because it was like one of their first games. And then they followed up with a Terminator game that actually was very it kind of honored the fan base that a lot of people liked. And then they came out with RoboCop, which was probably like the better game they've come out with so far. But it's cool. I like it. I mean, it's got like it's not like the most advanced looking graphics. It looks pretty good on PC. Uh, like the character models could be better, but you're just in it for the action. I mean, like you're basically just like a big ass tank that just like runs through buildings and just like pops heads off with your like auto pistol and shooting fools around corners and exploding barrels and like you can like grab dudes and like chuck them across the room and they just go like flying across the room. I mean, it's cool. It's a fun game. I enjoy it a lot. So I've been getting down on some RoboCop lately.
Nice. I have to check out gameplay on that because I think I've seen videos on it or like thumbnails, but I haven't actually clicked on there. I think Game Ranks did a video on it like a before you buy. I think I
Yeah.
watched that, and like their channel's like all about positivity and stuff. So I don't know how the game actually because they don't do like follow up from those before you buys, which
Yeah.
I wish they
After you
would. That
buy.
would, yeah, that would be pretty cool. I gotta
I guess
call
that
them.
would be like Jake Baldino's channel because he'll formulate his own like personal opinions outside of the before you buy. So I guess that's the afterthoughts. But yeah, I mean, it's not like it's not an overly complex game. Like it has some like small RPG elements. Like at every mission, you get to like upgrade RoboCop with like better armor, better weapons. There's a little bit of detective work that goes into certain parts of the story. Like you're investigating like a drug bust and trying to like link evidence together to take out like a drug pin guy. But then like the action is just kind of off the hook, man. It's just fun. It's just like dumb fun, kind of like the old school. How like the old school Call of Duty games used to be just like run and gunners. That's kind of what like vibes it gave me. So we'll look for some B-roll, put that up one of these days.
Yeah, for sure. I could do that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so those are what we're playing. Games upcoming that we're kind of like getting excited about. One topic that we didn't really like get into, which was announced like months ago, is GTA 6. They dropped a GTA 6 trailer. Looked kind of crazy. Like definitely went through a wild time when a bunch of stuff was getting leaked. You didn't know what was what. Like everybody was getting like DMCA'd and all that stuff from freaking like Rockstar, and a lot of drama surrounding GTA 6. I think we were even talking about it a year ago when the leaks happened, but we got our first trailer, official trailer and announcement for GTA 6. So thoughts, Carlos, on GTA 6?
I'm excited, man. Like GTA was always like a like like the biggest game like ever. Like for me, it was like bigger than like Call of Duty. Um, I don't know. It was just big. I always went to the midnight releases at GameStop, back in the day. Um, and then just being on that game for like hours and hours, and then listening to like the radios and stuff like that, because all the soundtracks on there are like really good. And even like on Grand Theft Auto 5, like I know you guys are tired of me talking about it, but it has like if you go to the radio, there's like a big wheel, and there's like a station here, like a clock basically, and there's stations everywhere. And like I could just imagine how much time they spend like recording, like like the radio DJs, like like pretending like they're actually on the radio for like how many ever hours that they do it for, like all the licensing for the songs that they put on there. um like even like the talk radio stuff, like they have like talk radios on there too, so it's pretty crazy like how in depth they go to make these games.
Yeah, I mean they've been working on this game for like 10 years, so I hope it has enough content to keep me hooked on it. Because there's not a lot of games where I feel like I have to buy like day one. Uh, Grand Theft Auto is always like a game that you're just like, oh my god, I got to get that game when it comes out. So it's definitely going to be a game that I want to get when it drops. I think what's hard is like there's so many games to play now. Um, I remember like back in the day, like my favorite was Vice City, which is why I'm stoked for 6, because it kind of takes place in like Vice City again. But like I could just live in that game. I could live in that game and just play it forever and not get tired of it. But I also think it's because there wasn't really much else to do. Like there weren't a lot of other games that kind of emulated what that does. So I don't know, man. I hope that it hooks me the way previous games used to hook me when I played it. Either way, I'm gonna get it like at least day one, just to get in on it early, because I like the setting of it. I like the whole like Vice City, Miami, Florida vibes. I kind of like the whole sort of like Bonnie and Clyde, like thieves ride or die till the end kind of stuff. So, and I don't mind having a female protagonist either. Like if you play as a female protagonist, I'm totally cool with that. I think there's a little controversy now that, we're trying to like push the agenda a little too much when it comes to like lead women in leads, but like this doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like it better than the 3 guys that were in 5. I didn't like any of the fucking 3 dudes in GTA 5.
Really, I kind of like them.
I mean, I think it's because you're playing it now, so you're getting a fresh take. But like, there really aren't a lot of qualities about them that I'm just like, oh man, like that guy was badass. Like I think back to like Tommy Vercetti in like Vice City. Like Tommy Vercetti was the shit, Ray Liotta,
R.I.P.
R.I.P. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, like Ray Liotta did like a awesome job with Tommy. But I think with the Grand Theft Auto 5 group of guys, like they're all like sucky people. Like,
Uniquely different too. It's
yeah.
kind of funny.
So you're just playing like three assholes, and like those are just the people that you play as, and you got to deal with it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I did kind of like that you could bounce back and forth between each dude too. So it's just like if you were getting kind of tired of like one particular mission set, then you could like jump around into like different characters. So I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do in 6. Like I don't know if you're only gonna play as like one person or if you're gonna be able to like jump in the shoes back and forth between different people. I guess we'll have to see because aside from the trailer, they didn't really like announce very much from gameplay. It was really just trailer
I think it was a
hype.
teaser trailer.
Yeah, yeah,
It would be
but
cool if
yeah.
they had like a co-op mode too, because if they're gonna do two people, it would be
Mhm.
cool. Especially like for Grand Theft Auto, like I think that would be the first time that you'd be able to do co-op missions, like in campaign mode.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. Like I said, they didn't really announce a whole lot, so I think there's definitely still a lot of questions. But it's cool they put out a trailer. Like it looks fun, it looks cool. I don't know, I don't know, just more to be desired. But I'm sure we'll get a lot more information on it before the game comes out. So
Yeah, I feel like this is gonna be one of those games that like it's gonna be real for the hype, not like all these games that we've been having with a lot of hype and then they just die like the first like day or two.
Ubisoft is known for that. Well, I mean, coming from Rockstar, I mean, there's a reason why it takes them a long ass time to put out games, and I think it's because they can really just add detail and make it like a true like next generation game. So like I have no doubt that this is going to be like up there in like the upper echelon of amazing games because that's just what Rockstar does. Like I know you never really played it, but like Red Dead Redemption 2 like was a really good game. It's just there's just a lot in it, so it's hard. It was hard to keep me hooked in the game because there was like too much to do. But like it is definitely like one of those games that are just like amazing. So
Yeah, I actually did play Red Dead Redemption 2. I got like 95% done with it, and then I just,
oh, for real, I didn't know you played it like that.
yeah, I didn't finish it. I think it was like I didn't want it to end, so I just never finished it. So
Yeah, yeah.
kind of like high
That
school.
this, well, I mean, the good news is if the track record is the same for GTA, like you'll be able to play this for at least 12 years before a
Yeah,
new one
like dude,
comes out.
like I want to go back to like those games like Red Dead Redemption 2. I want to go back and play like what was it, Days Gone, the bikers with the zombies. Like I want to
Yeah.
go back and play those games, bro, but like I feel like I'm just stuck. Like I play the battle royale, and then I have like friends at night that play with me, so it's like I feel like I'm kind of stuck in between because I do want to spend time playing with them because like I don't work with them anymore. So that's like the only time that we get to hang out.
Yeah.
And then I only get so much time a day to play. So it's like do I just ignore them and just play like my own game for the night, you know?
Yeah, that's the curse of the gamer, bro. Like gamer like there's always like too much choice and not enough time. So
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I know how you feel. We all struggle with it. We all struggle with it. So all right, anything else on GTA 6?
Nope, just really excited for it.
Okay, so game that I'm looking forward to, which we don't have to talk about in detail, is I was really big on Elden Ring. One of my favorite games that came out last year, or it was actually 2 years ago now. It came out in 2022. But Elden Ring was one of my like top favorite games. So they just dropped DLC, which will be coming out I think March or May. I think May. Maybe it's May. Uh, but I will be getting that when it comes out. I will be playing it. We will be talking about it on a future podcast. So I know you probably don't have much to say on that. So we can move on. And then another game that I'm looking forward to is Death Stranding 2. So we kind of talked about the first one. Is really just like a walking simulator, which no doubt that Death Stranding 2 is going to probably carry, a lot of that, style into the next game. But the trailer, man, like, I watched the trailer for Death Stranding 2, and there's just so much crazy shit that happens in that trailer. I'm just like, wow, like, I need to go back and play the first one. I need to see, like, where the first game is like taking all this crazy shit that's happening in part two. So it totally like changed my perspective on what I think of Death Stranding. Um, and just like one quick thing that I'll say about it is first Death Stranding was basically like Kojima's sort of like first game he did like on his own with his own studio. So maybe he was just trying to scratch the surface. Like maybe he wasn't like sure like how far to push the envelope. But like two came out and he's like, like fuck the envelope. I'm just gonna go crazy with this one. And it's given me like a lot of those like crazy like out of this world anime style like director like anything goes kind of gameplay. So I'm actually kind of stoked for Death Stranding too. Um, yeah. So
So fun
solid.
fact, I actually have that game on my PC.
Did you get it for free?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a game you can play, a walking simulator.
I tried playing it, man. I got like maybe like an hour into it,
Oh, it's tough.
and yeah, it's I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
I like Norman Reedus and everything, but like I just did not know what was going on in that game.
Yeah. There's a guy I work with, and he's like, "Oh man, like you got to get past you got to get past this part. Once you get past this part, it gets crazy. Once you get past this part, it gets crazy." And I was like, "Man, I don't know if I want to get to that part." So I think I definitely need to give it a try. It's just on my PS4's hard drive, just waiting for me to get back into it. But I too have it on my PC, so I don't even want to like start the game over. I just want to pick up where I left off on my PS4 just so I can play it. But I am hyped for part two. I will say that. So
Yeah, I have to check out that trailer. But
yeah,
I think I also have to check out the trailer for the first one and then compare it to the gameplay, and then check out the trailer for the second one, like, and then check out the gameplay after the game comes out and see if it's like the same, you know.
well, one thing that they definitely added in the second game, which is probably what gets me a little bit more excited for it, is it looks like they've added some combat elements to it now. Because in the first game, like like I hate calling it a walking simulator, but it really was just a walking simulator, and there was some combat elements, but they were very like generic. It didn't feel like intuitive. It didn't feel like it belonged in the game when there was combat. Um, Part two actually looks like it has some legit combat elements. Like there's actual like weaponry that you can use and upgrade. So I think the stakes are a lot higher. Um, like I said, I feel like he was really just trying to test the waters with the first game, just to see like what he could and could not do, how people would respond to it. And now he's like just unleashed it in part two with the kooky wackiness that he's known for. So yeah, excited for part two.
All right, cool.
Um, yeah. So last game we'll talk about for upcoming stuff, just some leaks that we've heard is Last of Us Part Three. So Last of Us Part Three sort of had some leaks. The grounded behind the scenes documentary came out when they released the Last of Us 2 remake. Not really a remake. Uh, but in that documentary, they were interviewing Neil Druckmann, the creator of Last of Us, and he basically said that he didn't know that he wanted to make a third game. He felt like the story in part two kind of ended the way it was supposed to. But now he said that's changed. And according to the interview, the direction he's looking to go in part three has something to do with Tommy's character, potentially a narrative that kind of carries like Tommy into part three. I'm curious about your thoughts and feelings about anything Last of Us 3 that we've heard lately.
I would be down for it. I love the Last of Us franchise. Maybe not so much the Last of Us 2 as far as like story wise stuff that happens in the story and stuff like that, but decisions made that I
No
didn't want to make.
spoilers. You don't want to spoil anything.
Nah, I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, we won't spoil anything. If you know, you know. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and I mean, there was like certain parts of the game and two that like I didn't even want to play because I didn't want to do what they wanted me to do in the game. Um, but besides that, The Last of Us 3, I feel like, well, like obviously I'm gonna get it probably first day and like play the shit out of it. And as far as the story, like Tommy didn't really want to do anything after like what happened in part two. Like he didn't really want to do anything. So I don't really see him being like the head of like a mob, like trying to get revenge on anything. If anything, it's gonna be more of him like running away and like trying to survive and keeping the group together and stuff like that. But I mean, they have to have Ellie in it. Like even though she kind of finished her story last game, I still feel like there's still so much for her that they can do.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I feel like it's gonna be a good game either way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be good. I don't know, like I wouldn't know how I'd feel about Tommy being sort of like the central character. Like, it's not that I have anything against him. Um, it's just that he didn't really bring a whole lot to the table in either of the games for me because you never played as him, so you don't get to experience things from his perspective. But I think it would be interesting if um, the game is more centralized around their camp that they have, like their survival group that they have like in the mountains. I don't know what that does for the narrative though. I mean, like, I don't know if Tommy is gonna be on this like quest for revenge or redemption. Like the last time him and like Ellie sort of like met in part two, like that didn't end very well. Like there was a lot of a lot of like, I don't want to say bad blood, but they just like were on opposite terms of what they wanted. So I don't know how they're gonna be able to rekindle that. I don't know. I would obviously love to have more Ellie in the story, but I wouldn't even know what they could do with that story at this point. They could technically do like a whole character arc for her in the third game, like a redemption arc if they wanted to, which seems to be sort of like the trend that everybody likes nowadays. I mean, that's cool if there is a redemption arc for her. I don't know what that would be, but it would have to have something to do with Abby, if that's the case. Like that's the only direction her redemption arc could go, is it's something between her and Abby. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that happened with other players, or not players, but other characters in the game too, that somebody else could have, um, bad blood for Ellie for. Cause I mean, she did a lot of shit in the last game, so there's no telling like who could be after her now.
Yeah, true. True, true. And I mean, they did expand it too, like in the second game to include like more areas and locations. So, I mean, in all honesty, there's so much they could flesh out of that universe if they wanted to. It's just if they really want to use Tommy as a focal point, like I hope they just do it in a way that makes me care about the game, because I don't know that I care enough about Tommy to build a whole game around him. Maybe like a DLC, but not like a whole game.
True, true.
Yeah. So that's all I got on Last of Us 3. Anything else, Carlos?
Nothing on that.
All right. So last topic we're gonna talk about is some just like movies and show stuff. So upcoming shows. So not much going on, but Avatar: The Last Airbender dropped on Netflix. Uh, Mixed reviews from what I understand. I mean, there's people that actually said good things about it. I mean, if you're comparing it to Shamalama, then it's way better than Shamalama. But the hardcore Avatar fans, which there's a lot of them, they say that it doesn't hit the mark. It's not good. It'll never be as good as the cartoon. So it's a little divisive. I don't know if you've ever watched or have cared about the Avatar series before.
I know of it. I've just never watched it.
I hear good things though. Like I think it's a show that I would like to watch, and from what I understand, it's not really that long. I mean, it's been out for such a long time. Like it's a you just binge it, but I do hear good things about it. Uh, I think for me the bias is like there's a big difference to me between like mature cartoons and then like anime. Like anime is always gonna like be here for me, and then like the cartoon is like okay, well that's cool, it's a cartoon, but it's not Japanese anime. So I think I'm a little biased, but I would be willing to give the show a try if it's something that I would enjoy out of the universe. So, do you think you'd end up watching Avatar?
I don't know. I had the conversation with my brother a couple days ago about Avatar, and he was telling me to watch the cartoon because it's really good. And I had seen TikToks like saying how like Netflix had already messed up Avatar like in the first like 5 minutes of the show,
Yeah,
and
yeah. The
so
hardcore critics, man. The hardcore critics are always gonna get you.
yeah. But I mean, I feel like we've kind of learned from Netflix about what they interpret as like live action from either anime or like from the source material that it's never good. You could say like Death Note as an example. Like that movie was horrible.
Yeah, and you were a huge Death Note fan. Like you, it's funny because in the Michelle, I think Michelle got you into Death Note, and
Yeah.
you finished it, dude. And like Michelle barely got like a few episodes into it, but she hyped it up for you to start watching it, and you finished it.
Yeah, I binged it because it was so good. It was just like the back and forth with L and whatever the other dude's name is. It
Yeah,
was really good. It's just like a really good cat and mouse show. But highly recommend that Death Note. Watch it.
Death Note.
The anime,
Awesome.
not the movie.
All right, so those are thoughts on Avatar. I'm thinking about watching it just to get a few episodes in. I might put in a couple episodes a day just to get a feel for it. So yeah, maybe we'll have an update on that. Moving on. So a trailer drop for a Borderlands movie. I had no idea they were even making a fucking Borderlands movie. So spoiler alert, it looks fucking horrible. Uh, I don't despite what you say about like Last of Us and maybe even the Sonic the Hedgehog movie about sort of like movie-based video games, finally like shedding that stigma or that curse. Uh, Watching the Borderlands movie trailer like takes me right back to like why they should stop making fucking movies about video games. It just doesn't look good. And I've played all three of the main Borderlands games. I kind of have like a soft spot for them, but this movie does not look good at all. And that is all I'm gonna say about that right now.
Yeah, anything with Kevin Hart in it, I can't take serious
Yeah,
because he
man. I
plays
hope
the same character.
I hope he's a character that actually doesn't make it to the end of the movie. I don't know. I don't know. That's too soon to say. Too soon to say.
You mean the trilogy?
Yeah, so no thoughts or comments on Borderlands right now other than like cool, there's a movie coming out and it's probably gonna suck. So
Yeah, I never played it, so I think me watching the trailer, it's not really gonna have the same impact it did on you.
yeah, that's too bad. All right. Another movie trailer that dropped that I actually find kind of interesting. Since everything's trending is like this John Wick era of action films. So there's this movie coming out called Monkey Man. It's actually directed. It's either directed or produced by Jordan Peele, which he's always having his little heyday. But the best way I could describe this movie is it's sort of like John Wick meets Bollywood. Um, it's just like a guy from India that's just like kicking the shit out of people in the kitchen with knives and frying pans and smashing their faces into like microwave ovens and stuff. And the action looks really good. I can't really say much about the story because I don't know much about the movie. But if you got time, check out the trailer. It looks pretty dope. Just a good action movie called The Monkey Man.
Yeah, and I'll have links to all the trailers in the description, and so you guys can
Yeah.
go ahead and watch those.
Mhm.
So I did watch the trailer for that one for Monkey Man, and his mask, like it looked really like on there. Like it wasn't something that he just like put on. Like it looks like they like it's like his face basically.
Yeah, yeah. It's not just like a cheap like spirit costume that he threw on there.
Yeah, like it looked like they spent like hours like putting that on him. But
I
like
mean,
in the
maybe
trailer, like it looks like he just like slaps it on and like, goes. But I'm like, I don't know.
it's a character arc, of it's like once he becomes the monkey man, he's always the monkey man.
Yeah, or it could just be like like what he sees himself as.
Yeah. Looks interesting though. Looks hyper violent. Kind of like a different gritty feel. So, uh, if you like the John Wick movies, then this is pretty much going to be up anyone's alley that's into that kind of movie. Yeah. Okay, and then last topic is season 2 of The Last of Us, since we're like trending on this Last of Us stuff. So it looks like that they're pretty much like all in production right now. They're in the middle of production. They've revealed some cast of characters. I can't think of the chick's name that's actually playing Abby. I should have researched that first, but she looks really young. Like she looks really young and she looks really like tiny compared to like Abby in the video game. So it kind of leaves me to question maybe what direction they're going with season 2. Like it might be like spread out, in my opinion, across like a longer timeline. Like I don't think we're gonna get a true like season 2 Last of Us 2, like 1-to-1 ratio like the first season did. I almost feel like this is gonna get stretched out a little bit longer. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think we talked about that like when we were doing our Last of Us podcast, like after the show review. Because the game for the second one was so big. I mean, the game for the first one was really big too, but they were able to narrow that down into what, eight episodes, 9 episodes, 10 episodes, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I feel like the
Which one's
second
better?
game, yeah, the second game is a lot bigger and it covers more landscapes, more like locations and stuff like that. So I do feel like they're gonna have like a part A, part B, or they're just gonna like season 2 is gonna be like half of the game, and then season 3 will be like the other half of the game, which would be cool. I'd be down for that.
Yeah, because I mean, part 2, like the game part 2, literally did feel like two different games. I don't know what that's gonna do for the narrative. I mean, like we've already seen that like they're willing to switch things around. They're willing to mix it up a little bit to expand on story and characters. So like we could get like a full season of uh Joel and Ellie in season 2. I mean, I don't know. I think I kind of feel like there's enough material in the game if they wanted to like stitch it together in a different way, because you got a lot of flashbacks of the game that could kind of like serve as like narrative for the show. Like I don't think they're gonna follow it to like a true 1-to-1. Um, but I think there's enough there that they could stretch out. Like Abby, the actress Abby in the show, like looks nothing like the Abby from the game. Not just like her looks per se, but just like the build, the physique. So I'm thinking like, are we getting like a younger Abby? Like, are we getting a mature Abby? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how they're gonna do that. Um, because in the game, like Abby and Ellie, like Abby looks like a monster next to Ellie. Even the way they control in the gameplay is very very different. So I don't know. We'll see. But into, of course, I think it's still gonna be good.
Yeah, me too. So the girl's name is Caitlin Dever. She's gonna be playing Abby in season 2.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, she does look like very like petite compared to Abby, and because Abby was like a freaking muscle builder, like bodybuilder type looking.
So yeah. So Caitlin Dever is the new Abby. There's some images of her.
Yeah, so I feel like the Caitlin Dever that's gonna be playing her in the show is gonna be, I don't know. I kind of want to say she's gonna be like the child version, but they haven't announced like you said, like if she's gonna play the child or the adult. They just have that one name and that's attached to Abby. So I don't know. I mean, she could be like that Jason Momoa commercial, like where he's like ripping off his muscles, like when he gets home and stuff. It's probably gonna be like she's gonna be doing the reverse.
They'll just put on a bodysuit.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. Well, I think it's coming out like what, next year. They're filming right now, so we gotta wait another year because of the writer's strike pushed it back.
Yeah, for sure. Something to get excited about, though. That's for sure. And then we'll obviously have more speculation. If more news comes out, we'll probably dedicate an episode more to that instead of just kind of peppering it in with a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's kind of all I got, man. You got anything else?
That's it. I think we covered everything that we wanted to cover.
Cool. So once again, listen in for the sound. We should have a sound coming up at the end of this episode for you guys to listen to and respond to. So without further ado, thank you guys once again for listening to the BroTech Gaming Podcast. Please follow us on all of our socials, YouTube, TikToks. Carlos will post his TikToks. We got our Twitch channels, our Kick channels for people that watch Kick. And yeah, we will catch you guys and gals on the next episode. Bye.